Hello and welcome to Smart Agriculture. I am Vivian Fernandez. This episode is about bringing green revolution to Eastern India. There is a program by that name being monitored here in Cuttack by the Central Rice Research Institute, which was set up in 1946 in the wake of the Great Bengal famine. This institute has produced many eminent rice breeders, and in the 1960s, it was the site of the Indica japonica rice hybridization program that resulted in the development of a popular rice variety. Eastern India is rich in water, its soils are not fatigued, and with sincerity and commitment, it could become home to the second green revolution.
Towards the end of June 2015, the Prime Minister laid the foundation stone for the Indian Agricultural Research Institute (IARI) at Goria Karma village near Hazaribagh in Jharkhand. It was an apt choice because the eastern states are both poor and agricultural. Studies show that agricultural growth in India is much more effective in reducing poverty than growth in manufacturing or services because more people are engaged in farming. And expenditure on research and extension has a great impact on agricultural growth, more than even investment in rural roads or irrigation.
अब समय की मांग है कि देश में दूसरी कृषि क्रांति बिना विलंब होनी चाहिए। इस दूसरी कृषि क्रांति होने की संभावना कहां है? मैं जानकारियों के आधार पर कह सकता हूं, अब हिंदुस्तान में दूसरी कृषि क्रांति की संभावना कहीं है तो वह पूर्वी उत्तर प्रदेश, झारखंड, बिहार, उड़ीसा, पश्चिम बंगाल, आसाम, ये भारत के जो पूर्वी इलाके हैं, वहीं पर से दूसरी कृषि क्रांति की संभावना है।
The first IARI was set up here in Pusa village in Bihar's Samastipur district, where Rajendra Agricultural University is located. After an earthquake in 1934, it was shifted to Delhi, which is why Delhi's IARI is known as the Pusa Institute. Dwarf varieties of wheat from Mexico were grown at the Pusa Institute's campus in the 1960s. These high-yielding varieties were then given to farmers to cultivate. This is how the Green Revolution happened.
IRA was established in the east, in Pusa. It's called Pusa Institute because it was established in a village called Pusa. Had it continued, before we took off, it so happened that the earthquake occurred and the institute had to be moved to this place. Had it continued there, Green Revolution would have been established there.
India is a rice country. All states grow it. 44 million hectares is under rice, compared to 31 million hectares under wheat. In 2013-14, India produced 106 million tons of rice against 96 million tons of wheat. But the states where rice is not the staple, Punjab and Haryana, which between them account for 12% of the rice acreage, contribute 33% of rice procured to feed the country's poor through the ration system. The Central Rice Research Institute estimates that India will need 130 million tons of rice by 2025, and the eastern states can produce the additional quantity as they have the right ecology and scope to catch up from current low yields.
The eastern states can take over, given the support and policy framework and the market and procurement issues being resolved. So, I believe strongly that eastern states should feed the whole country and also support the export.
There is a big gap in yields between eastern states and the best producers. Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Haryana lead with productivity in the range of 3 to 4 tons per hectare. Among the eastern states, West Bengal tops with yield above the national average, while Bihar would have come close, but for a dive in production in 2010-11 because of bad weather.
पैडी का पैदावार ज़रूर बढ़ा है, पर अभी भी जो है काफ़ी स्कोप है कि इसको और हम बढ़ा सकते हैं। कि पिछले 4-5 साल में हम देखें तो जो मेजर कंट्रीब्यूशन जो है वो हाइब्रिड सीड का है और जो इम्प्रूव्ड वैरायटी डेवलप हो रही है उनका है, और जो गवर्नमेंट जो एफर्ट्स लगा रही है जैसे इनपुट्स वगैरह वो भी जो है बढ़ा है, तो उसके उन सब को लेके प्रोडक्शन रियल में बढ़ा है।
Yield or productivity is not all there is to the suitability of a crop to an area. Is the yield sustainable, or does it come at the cost of future generations? These are questions that need to be asked.
Looked at from an environmental point of view, the northwestern states are inefficient producers of rice. Punjab produces just 19 kilograms of rice with 1 lakh litres of water, while West Bengal produces almost double the amount, 37 kilograms, for the same volume of water. Assam follows at 33 kilograms, while Odisha and Bihar trail at 22 kgs each. Punjab also encourages water use by giving electricity free, which has impacted groundwater levels.
Punjab is a classic example of that. Free power literally to the farmer, and free water. Water table is going down by 33 centimeters every year, and it has become a rice bowl which is not nature gifted it with that much of water. Water needs about 225 centimeters, rice needs 225 centimeters of water. Rainfall in Punjab is only 60 centimeters. So the rest is groundwater. So they are depleting groundwater.
It is for this reason that the previous government initiated a program called Bringing Green Revolution to Eastern India. As Finance Minister, Pranab Mukherjee made an allocation of 400 crore rupees for it in 2010-11 and gave a similar amount the following year. The objective was to increase production and productivity of rice through climate-resilient technologies, increase cropping intensity by enabling a second crop after rice harvest, and improve market access.
The initiative of bringing green revolution to Eastern India has resulted in a significant increase in production and productivity of paddy. Therefore, I propose to increase the allocation for this scheme from 400 crore in 2011 to rupees 1000 crore for the year 2012-13.
Central government funds were meant for large-scale demonstrations of new technologies and practices on farmers' fields, with subsidized seeds and fertilizer, construction of community threshing and drying platforms, and provision of tube wells. But is the outlay of 1,000 crore rupees spread over 7 states enough to induce change?
Money is important for the research and the technologies to be transferred to farmers, not for making green revolution happen by itself. The information is there that needs to go to the farmers. For giving information to farmers, you don't need big investment. You need investment in terms of people who are well educated to understand the technologies and give that appropriate to the farmers.
But the eastern states are so poorly governed that their infrastructure is in such a poor shape that demonstrations of new ways of rice cultivation would not have brought about change without better roads, improved electricity supply, and access to the markets both for input and sale of the harvest. Bihar is a classic example. The new government, which took over in 2004, drew a 5-year roadmap for a green, white and blue rainbow revolution in agriculture. This has been extended till 2017 and calls for an investment of 150,000 crore rupees.
If you see, when we started in 2005-6, when the new government came, and when we started looking to our agriculture sector, at that point of time, the productivity in paddy was roughly half that of the Indian productivity. But now we have caught up with the, we have caught up with the average, national average, and we have gone a bit ahead. And the way we are going, I am sure that by the end of the agriculture roadmap, we will be quite near to the top few states of the country.
We slip into a break. When we return, should there be a national policy on rice? You're watching Smart Agriculture. Welcome back to Smart Agriculture. Bringing green revolution to eastern India is one part of the story. The other is whether states that do not have a comparative advantage in water-intensive rice should persist with it. The Central Rice Research Institute wants a policy to determine which states are eligible to grow rice, but can such a policy be enforced?
The Central Rice Research Institute advises and monitors the BGREI program as it is primarily about rice. It says simple interventions like planting in rows with 8 by 6 inch spacing have had a big payback. It makes weed removal easier. Conventional dense planting helps pests and diseases to thrive. Farmers have been told to apply urea fertilizer in split doses in 3 installments for more grain rather than straw formation. They have been advised to use micronutrients like zinc sulfate and boron. Simple devices like sex hormone traps for insects like stem borers tell farmers whether they should spray pesticides. A novelty is large-scale demonstrations in farmers' fields. In Cuttack, these were held last year on 4,200 hectares across 10 of the district's 14 blocks. Some farmers have been encouraged by the results to continue with the new practices. Others cite difficulties.
केनाल के ऊपर हम निर्भर करते हैं, तो पानी आ जाने से हम करेंगे। बारिश बहुत कम हुआ है इस साल में, तो हम पानी पर पूरा निर्भर करते हैं, केनाल के पानी पर।
थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम ऐसा होता है जो टाइम पर जो खाद और फर्टिलाइज़र वगैरह जो भी बीज वगैरह सही टाइम पर नहीं पहुंच पाता है।
जो मूलिया धाड़ी रोले सी बहुत टाइम नेले आमर से 2टा बेले सारी जाता जो संध्या है से अधिका पैसा खोजिले से अधिका पैसा खोजबार आम बंद कलु बाध्य।
There is also a clash of practices. In one block of Cuttack district, for instance, row planting was being demonstrated, while in others, farmers are being persuaded to indulge in a system of rice intensification, a method borrowed from Madagascar, where 8 to 10-day-old seedlings are planted singly in 25 by 25 centimeter grids. Farmers and village-level officials said it was tedious and required more labor, but they would do as told, though they feared the weak seedlings would get washed out in pelting rain.
खरीफ सीजन रे एसआरआईटा टे बहुत कष्ट कारण ठीक 10 रे 10 थुआ हे बर्तमान भल अच्छी घंटा पर दुलदुल वर्षा हे पानी बुड़ी जीव ए से कुआड़ चल जीव तली रोईक आसते चाषी घरे पहुँच नथे तली भासी पलैब।
प्रथम तो लोक कहीं राजी हेले नहीं ये पद्धति चाष करने किसी लोक ग्रहण कले से जो किसी लोक ग्रहण कले से माने धाड़ी रुआ प्रथम चाष कले धाड़ी रुआरू अधिक अमल पाइले अमल पाइबा द्वारा से लोक मैंने अवशिष्ट किसी लोक बुझेले अवशिष्ट किसी लोक बुझिला 3-4 वर्ष है प्रकार धाड़ी रुआ चलता।
There is no single template for eastern India where rice is grown in uplands and lowlands and in conditions of flash and static flooding. Nearly 80% of this region is rain-fed, only a fifth is irrigated and about half is lowland. High yields must be combined with stability of production.
So if there is moisture stress or drought comes, then we adopt a upland varieties which possess drought tolerance. And if there is flooding or submergence, we go for varieties for high degree of tolerance to submergence. And therefore, this instability, besides the variety development, and one major drawback is the proper variety input management.
Bihar's Rajendra Agricultural University is rooting for direct seeding of rice on dry fields without puddling to cope with rainfall. The state has been championing SRI but may be veering to direct seeded rice because of lower wages and higher savings for farmers.
मैं प्रयास यही कर रहा हूं किसानों को समझाने का मौसम के बदलते परिवेश में धान की खेती गेहूं के जैसा करें, बिना पानी का, बिना मजदूर का यह खेती कैसे संभव है। मैं घूम घूम करके किसानों को प्रशिक्षण दे रहा हूं।
A lot needs to be done. quality seed can raise yields by 15 to 20%, but the seed replacement ratio ranges between 20 and 30% in the eastern region. The seed which farmers save and reuse loses vigor. The national seed replacement ratio is over 40%. Ideally, seeds should be changed every year. Marketing is another weak point. Unless farmers are able to sell at support prices, they will not have an incentive to grow more. In many pockets of eastern India, farmers have to settle for low prices because the government agencies do not procure. Not all states pull at the same place. BGREI has to face indifference in Uttar Pradesh, a lack of enthusiasm in Assam, yet it seems to be getting on with the job.
BGREI is a success. It has given us 6 to 10 million tons of more production in 7 eastern states as compared to average of 3 years prior to BGREI. And this is an indicator of success of BGREI.
Until the yield gaps are bridged, Punjab and Haryana cannot shift substantial acreages away from rice without impacting the country's food security. Their farmers will also have to be given well-paying replacement crops, but there is little time to lose as the rate of groundwater depletion in 110 out of 138 blocks of Punjab is more than the rate of recharge. The state wants half of its 3 lakh hectares paddy acreage to move out of rice. On the rest, its farmers should be encouraged to grow less thirsty basmati rice, particularly a short duration variety developed by IARI released last year, which matures in 120 days.
Traditional basmati has got 160 days duration. The most widely cultivated Pusa basmati 1121 has got 145 days duration. So if we can reduce the duration of these crop varieties to say about 120-125 days, the future belongs to short duration varieties of rice, wheat, or for that matter any other crop with increased cropping intensity to enhance the profitability of the farmers.
Rice cultivation across states will have to be lean on water. This farmer, who is also an IARI fellow, has been doing direct seeding of rice on 20 acres. This is the 6th year he has been at it. Another 150 acres of rice in and around this village are being direct seeded under his supervision. Since 2 farm operations are dispensed with, it is both water saving and profitable.
हाँ, मैं इस चीज़ से बिल्कुल जानकार हूँ, साइंटिस्टों के टच में रहते हैं, IRI का फेलो भी हूँ, तो मैं आसपास के किसानों को ये कहता हूँ कि हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि जो हमारे नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज हैं उनको सेव करना, उनको रखना हमारी जिम्मेवारी बनती है.
Direct seeding is actually a practice that Indian farmers followed before the Green Revolution. Transplanting in flooded paddy fields was resorted to suppress weeds. But with the development of weedicides and machines that can sow seeds by just scratching the surface, it is gaining ground, especially in the more progressive states.
Some of the fragile ecosystem in the country, particularly the states of say Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and in Jharkhand, initially this area we have about say 5 million hectare under upland condition, which is all grown as direct seeded rice as a conventional practice, and the same practice can be adopted in those areas where the rice is being grown as puddled and transplanted crops. So this year, for example, the state of Punjab has taken this as a massive campaign to increase the area under direct seeded rice to about 4 lakh hectares.
Rice is a versatile crop, but has come in for adverse notice because of high water consumption. Varieties that can cope with erratic weather and frugal on resource use can only address environmental concerns, but also bring prosperity to the eastern region.
That is all we have in this episode of Smart Agriculture. We'll be back with more. Till then, goodbye, take care.